Good afternoon, my dear students. Today we will try to understand the liquidation. Concept wise clarity I have already given in regular classes. In today's lecture we will solve one problem on liquidation, and that will be useful for you in your same end exam. Now moving ahead towards our chapter, from this image you will learn so many things. What is exactly mean by liquidation and all. Okay. If you check the image, then you will find that one person, and then he is intense thinking that our company is liquidated and all. This is the analogy behind the liquidation, we will say. Liquidation means putting end to the life of the company. If you are the natural person, then your life naturally comes to an end after a certain age, but here company has got a boon. The company can exist for any number of years, like you have heard the example of Ravan. He has got the boon, correct? Like this company also got the boon to decide when to liquidate, when to end the business. No one can end, or we cannot say the business will end after these many years. That can continue, but if certain condition, due to certain condition and due to the law, you may be compulsory required to liquidate, close the company, or else after fulfilling your purpose you can end your company, correct? You can end the life of the company. Now after that we will move on to our regular slides. I have given you the example of Ram and Ravan, correct? He has got the boon, and then after that you know the story. This is a very important image. In this image they have clarified that the types of liquidation. My purpose is to teach how to solve the problem, but to get the interest within few minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, we will see types of liquidation and liquidation procedure, theoretical procedure somehow here. Now here you will find three important types: compulsory winding up by tribunal, and then after that you will find voluntary winding up, in that members were voluntary, and then creditors voluntary winding up, and winding up under the supervision of court, correct? One is winding up by tribunal and under the supervision of court, you will say. And then after that the full analogy. Now when members voluntary winding up and when creditors voluntary winding up, that I think so I have already taught you, and then which compulsory conditions are there, that also we have seen. If you want, you can check our previous lecture, correct? But after winding of what? Winding of, I already said you putting end to the life. Putting end to the life of company means actually what? That you must understand, correct? Putting end to the life, that means closing the balance sheet of company, financial statements of the company, okay? And closing the balance sheet means nullifying the balance sheet. Nullifying, that means making that as a zero. How we can make balance sheet your zero? By selling all the assets of company. यानी जो asset side में लिखा है वो सब बेच दो, और जो liability side में है वो सब पे कर दो. तो पे करने के बाद वो जीरो हो जाएगा, और asset side का सोल्ड करने के बाद वो भी जीरो हो जाएगा. जैसे ही कैश आती है वैसे ही कैश आपको देना पड़ेगा. You are just the agent in transferring the cash from the assets to the liability, correct? And then who agent is called as in this chapter the liquidator. You can become the official liquidator or the yes, the tentative liquidator, correct? Now in liquidation procedure you will find two important statements in this chapter. Liquidator, I already said, he is the person who does the formalities of liquidation, who completes the formalities, appointed by court, or in voluntary winding up you appoint that liquidator. And then after appointment he has to sell, but he must know which assets are there in the business. All the assets are not written on the balance sheet asset side. Some assets you discard, doesn't know all about those assets. And then he must know, because he is the outsider person. Without knowing the asset he cannot sell the asset. Therefore it's your duty, duty of director, duty of the board of director of a company, to give idea about all the assets of company to the liquidator. By providing statement of affairs to the liquidator, liquidator gets the idea, and then after that liquidator sell all the assets. That means two important statements here you will find in this chapter. First one is statement of affairs, and then after that the final statement, liquidator final statement of account. In general life also first we will find affairs and then final marriage. Here also you will find first affairs, but affairs about the liquidation, not about the final marriage. Understood? Now then moving ahead towards the statement of affairs, I think so in this exam related to send and exam I am talking about, statement of affairs is not that much important as compared to the final statement. Therefore, in this lecture I will try to explain you how to solve the problem for liquidator final statement of account. Now let us then move ahead. I have one problem with me, let me show that problem to you. Okay, this is the problem of liquidation. On screen you will find the problem. In this problem, Hurry Limited, they have passed the voluntary resolution as on 31st March 2020 when its balance sheet stood as under. In that you will find liabilities, preference shareholders, then equity shares, then after that you will find debentures having the floating charge. Now two charges you will find in the liability side of a balance sheet. I am talking about the charges. Charges, that means what? Yani girvi rakhna, correct na? Sometimes you give all the assets as a security to the bank, correct na, to against the liability, and sometimes you give specific asset as a security. Now then floating charge on all assets, that means you are giving all the assets, and fixed charge against some particular asset. There is a difference, I will let you know while solving the problem, the difference between these two. And then after that you will find in balance sheet itself interest on debenture, that means this interest is payable on balance sheet date on 31st March year, let us say 2020. This is payable, that means not yet paid in before 31st March. Then we have creditors, loan from bank and income tax. If you analyze full liability side, then you will find some owner's capital, then their brothers owner's brother, that means equities brothers is a preference, their own capital, that means internal liabilities, plus you will find external liabilities, and plus you will find government liabilities like income tax and all. Some secured liabilities are also there. Okay. And then after that, if you check the asset side, regular assets, fixed assets like land, plant and machinery, patents, and then only this much. Some are tangible, some are intangible, and then after that current assets like stock, debtors, cash, preliminary expense and profit and loss. My dear students, you know preliminary expense and profit and loss, these are not the real assets, these are the fictitious assets. Just for sake of a tally purpose, we have shown them on the asset side. Then below balance sheet we have preference dividend where in arrears. They have what they said about the dividend. Let's say dividend of the shareholder, preference shareholder is in arrear for last 2 years, we haven't yet paid, and that is payable, and as per the article we will going to pay if we have money in liquidation. And then loan from Dena Bank of rupees 50,000 taken on the hypothecation of land. On the hypothecation of land for loan they are saying, that means against loan we have given some fixed asset, a particular asset. Therefore, here we will find fixed charge for a loan and floating charge for debenture holders. Okay. These charges are very simple. My purpose is to make this problem simple. Therefore, do not take tension about the charges. Correct na? Then go ahead. Then next, the assets were realized as under. Some assets with their realized values are given like land, plant and machinery, patent, stock, debtors, etc. and etc. Values are given, no need to calculate, just we will take these values. These, what are these values? These are the selling values. That means by selling land you will get 1,20,000. How to show, where to show, that we will see in format. Now just understand what they are given. In liquidation, while solving liquidator final statement problem, you will get the balance sheet liability, assets, and below balance sheet some information about the selling values of assets and liabilities, selling values of assets and payment values, paid values of liabilities. Now then after that the cost of liquidation is given 10,900, liquidator is entitled remuneration of 3% on all assets realized. To do this formality, and no one will going to work for you freely, here liquidator is employed, therefore that he will also going to charge some money to you, that is remuneration. We will going to give remuneration to liquidator, and how we will going to pay, that they have given the method, that means 3% on all assets realized. Correct, all asset realized. What is the meaning of this? I have already clarified, but I will definitely give you idea while solving the problem. And then finally all payments were made on 31st March 2020. Now for this problem they have specified that you have paid all liabilities on balance sheet date itself on 31st March 2020. This is simple. If you pay after balance sheet, then some more extra calculations you require to do, but here those calculations are not at all required. Now understood problem. And then finally they said us you are required to prepare liquidator final statement of affairs. To solve liquidation problem, my dear students, you require what? The format. Therefore I will show that format on screen, and then after that I will also explain that format, and then with me you have to solve the problem, this problem. To solve the problem we have blank format like this. In blank format we write in the books of dash dash dash. Here we have problem of Hari Limited, in the books of Hari Limited. Then liquidator final statement of account, give the heading and then date, as on which date you are doing this format, liquidator final statement, that date will come here. And then after that the two sides, first receipt side and then payment side. This look like exactly as cash book. Cash book or cash account, you know. On the debit side of a cash we write cash comes in, and on the credit side we write cash goes out. Similarly in liquidator final statement of account, on the debit side we write cash comes in into liquidator final statement. This is what cash comes inside, and this is cash goes outside. When cash will come in the statement, when we use sell or we sell the assets, then cash will come in here. That means the sale of asset you will find on the debit side of liquidator final statement, and payment of liability holders you will find on the credit side of a liquidator final statement. Understood? This debit and credit side, only two sides we are having, and we divide that whole come in part into four categories. Which four categories? See here, the balance category, opening balance, cash or bank balance, then after that amount realized from sale of assets, then surplus from securities, and finally call money. Call money actually will not come from your asset side. Yes, this is if you require cash, then you ask the cash to shareholder. दैट मीन्स हम बोलते हैं ना भीख मांग के कैश लिया ना, तो भीख मांगा हुआ कैश इधर आ जाएगा। फिर ऊपर का जो है ना, जो थ्री कैटेगरीज, उसमें हम सेल करके कैश लिखेंगे। तो बैलेंस शीट से ये आएगा सीधा, बैलेंस शीट का कैश का बैलेंस ऊपर लिखेंगे। फिर ऑल अदर एसेट्स विल डिवाइड इनटू टू पार्ट्स, द रेगुलर एसेट्स, दैट मीन्स दोज एसेट्स विच वी हैवंट गिव द सिक्योरिटी, एंड द एसेट्स विच वी गिव सिक्योरिटी। करेक्ट। सिक्योर्ड एसेट्स यानी गिरवी रखा हुआ एसेट, सेल करके जो हुआ इन ट्रांजैक्शन, जो अमाउंट मिला है वो इधर आ जाएगा, और जो एसेट हमने गिरवी नहीं रखा था यानी सिक्योरिटी नहीं दिया था वो आएगा अमाउंट रियलाइज फ्रॉम सेल ऑफ एसेट। अंडरस्टूड? आउट ऑफ 4, 3 आर वेरी सिंपल। In 3 also, first one is very simple. This is as like cash balance. In cash also we write two balance brought down. Here instead of writing two balance, we write cash oblique bank balance. From where? From balance sheet. Then as I said, divide all other assets, all real assets, not the fictitious assets, into two categories. Which two categories? जो गिरवी दिया था वो और नहीं दिया था वो. Understood? That means in English, those assets which you have given as a security, those where we write, those we write in surplus category, this category, and जो assets जो गिरवी नहीं रखा था, not given as a security, will come here to asset realized from sale of assets in this category. Understood? So it's very simple. And what about the last one category, fourth category? भीख मांग के मिला हुआ पैसा इधर आ जाएगा, तो आपको पता चलेगा what it mean by amount received from shareholder if required. Yes, call money, this is your call money. And the payment side, now let me show you this asset side, how to divide and where that will appear immediately here only, then we will understand the liability side. Liability side or payment side is very simple. With the help of one drama in regular class, in the regular classroom, we have tried to understand the full sequence of the liability side. Here also the glimpse I will give you, don't worry. Now check here. In a problem, what do I have? I have what? Assets as well as liability. As I said, in problem, in balance sheet, in this horizontal form, you will find two sides, isn't it? Here, the debit side as well as you will find credit side. And in a liquidator statement, here in this statement, as well as like debit and credit, here you will also find debit and credit. The simple double entry system rule you know from your child, from your what 11th standard, okay, from your the newly started career of accountancy. Since you are the child, you know to tally balance sheet in a double entry system. We give one effect to the debit and another effect to the credit side. Now debit of a balance sheet becomes the credit of a liquidator final statement. In exam, if you don't know anything, my dear students, then just write debit side at the credit side of liquidator final statement. That means here debit of the question will become, sorry, where is that? One second, that has gone out of the screen. Here we do right here, yes, debit of question, we will say QUE will come here, and then after that the credit of question will become debit of answer. Now here we will say credit of your question, we will write on the debit of your answer. Now check then credit of your question, because here we will first finish the debit of our answer. Now credit of our question, there you will find assets as like furniture, plant, goodwill, stock, debtors, cash, preliminary expenses and profit and loss. Remember one thing, that only real asset will form a part of liquidator final statement. That means by reading the balance sheet you should scratch out these preliminary expenses and profit and loss. Generally what it mean by fictitious? Fictitious means not real assets, यानी हम बोलते हैं ना उनको वैल्यू कुछ नहीं है, यानी वो झूठे हुए एसेट है, झूठे एसेट है, एसेट फॉर द सेक ऑफ नेम ओनली. In this category generally you will find miscellaneous expenses, that means profit and loss, debenture on issue of discount on issue of debentures, then discount on issue of shares. This you will not find right nowadays, but this was the part of miscellaneous. Plus here you will find preliminary expenses, formation expenses, etc. Correct. If you find these items on the asset side, then just scratch out those items, just remove those items. Correct. Then you will not make mistake in exam. By not writing this item in our answer, you will get marks. Understood? And then what about the remaining assets? Remaining assets, now plant, furniture, goodwill, stock, then debtors and cash. No need to divide that into tangible and intangible, then fixed and current. Just here we will divide these assets into two, गिरवी रखा, नहीं गिरवी रखा, given as a security and not given as a security. Now how to identify then which assets we have given as a security and which are not? Now for this refer what information part, adjustment part of your question. In adjustment or in information, you have clearly specify about the Dena Bank loan, and for Dena Bank loan we have given furniture as a hypothecation, as a security. That means furniture becomes secured asset. This is what is secured asset. Correct. This will form the part of our surplus. Two categories, the surplus category, and then after that amount realized from sale of asset. Now this is secured category. furniture comes under secured, therefore we will write that in surplus category. And other than this, do we have anything? Now here 5% debenture, floating charge on all assets, we do not know all means what, therefore we cannot say that plant and machinery is secured specific, no. If floating charge, do not take tension at all, that will not come in your secure category. Only if you give specific asset, then that will form in surplus or other oblique what your specific category. Understood? That means here in this problem only one asset is there in surplus category, and for all other assets, then what about all other assets? They will form the part of your amount realized from sale of assets. Amount realized from sale of assets, that means what? Not secured category. Not secured category. And for not secured, you know, we have here amount realized from sale of assets. Understood? Okay. Now I think so you must have understood what is asset, the credit side of your problem, and where to write that credit side, and then exactly how many categories on the receipt side, that means debit side of your answer, and where to write in which category to write which asset, that you must have understood. But my dear students, as I said here, all are not secured. Cash is also not secured, but cash is having its own home. खुद का घर है, जब खुद का घर है तो उसको धर्मशाला, क्या बोलते हिंदी में मुझे मालूम नहीं, उसको धर्मशाला में मत भेजो, उसको खुद के घर में भेजो, कैश को कैश के घर में, और बाकी के लिए कुछ जैसा स्पेसिफिक घर नहीं है, इसीलिए उनको सबको घर यानी मकान बोलते हैं, तो मेरा हिंदी छोड़ दो, पर उनको सबको हम किधर लिखेंगे? एक कॉमन मकान में, यानी अमाउंट रियलाइज फ्रॉम सेल ऑफ एसेट में लिखेंगे. Understood? Now let it be any problem. In next lecture I will show you few more problems. In that definitely on my telegram also you will find other or should I show right now? Let me check. Right now in my computer I don't have other problems, but in next lecture definitely I will show you other problems, and in that how to divide whole asset side into these 4 or 3 categories, that will I show you, that will you come to know. Right now just focus on this problem only. You must have understood full liabilities, full asset side we first ignore the fictitious assets, and then for all other asset we divide into 3 categories. If cash given, then cash or bank we directly write at opening, and for all other assets we divide into 2, given as a security and not given as a security. And then after understanding this, try to understand liability side. Okay. Liability side means the debit side of your balance sheet, and that we fit into credit side of our answer. In the liquidator final statement, you cannot write any item anywhere. That means a particular sequence we must follow. To pay in the sequence in exam you will get marks. If you pay any item anywhere, that means if you pay first unsecured creditors and then liquidator remuneration, believe me my dear students, you will not get any marks. You will say that I also got the answer same as like my friend, but he has got 20 out of 20 and I got only 2 because of your mischievousness. By writing anywhere you will get 2. Understood? Then try to remember. Sequence is very simple. Triple L, L. We say na triple L, L lag gaya, what lag gayi, like that. First triple L. Correct. 3 arrows. Without these 3 arrows you cannot put end the life of company. Similarly in our example the war of Ram and Ravan, in that also you have seen that by shooting the arrows, particular arrow at a particular place, Ravan left his body. Similarly by shooting these 3 arrows, Amog we will say बाण, ये अमोक 3 बाण चले गए, फिर उसके बाद में कंपनी का डेथ हो जाएगा. तो पहला वाला बाण है लीगल चार्जेस, we have liquidator remuneration, and then after that the third arrow, like third, you must have seen the third arrow will come like this, and then that liquidation expenses. Liquidation expenses, you know, this is also called as cost of liquidation, legal charges, liquidator remuneration and liquidation expenses. Then after that the preferential creditors. Preferential creditors, they are unsecured ones, but we pay because of their power. This is natural, my dear students. Why? If you announce liquidation, and then obviously all liability holders will come at your door, and then they will cause a chaos at your door, but by chaos, by fighting in themselves, who will win? The person who is having more power will win. And then who is preferential creditors? Who are actually preferential creditors? Preferential creditors are those creditors who are what we can say, powered by government. Here you will find government and some weaker section who have got the power due to law. Correct. If you pay, now let me show you analogy, then you will understand. Now I have a slide of analogy with me. If you remember what I am saying, in regular classes I already taught you this, but let us check these pictures. Now first picture of what? The picture of our army, correct? Our picture of our government power, correct? If you say government, I will not pay, then full army will come at your home, correct? All police and all will come, and you cannot say no to them. You know how much power government is having. Then after that, check second picture. Second picture, this is what you must have seen this movie, correct? All gundas are there, Dawood Bhais and all. And then after that the weaker section, as compared to power of this person, naturally this gundas gang is having more power, and then gundas will find power of military is more, correct? And this is a regular man, and then after that the brothers, small brothers, correct? Then you will say, what is the relevance of this picture? Now this army, that means government, and government is called as preferential creditors. That means army is our preferential creditors. Preferential creditors. Then after that you will find debenture holders, Dawood Bhai, Gunda, debenture holders. After preferential, debenture holders. Then after debenture holders you will find unsecured, and then after unsecured, internal brothers. In the balance sheet you will find two brothers. What first? Preference shareholders, and then after that equity shareholders. Now understood? Now let me show again our format. Now first triple L, without L you cannot, without these three arrow you cannot put end to the life of company, therefore obviously these arrows first, and after shooting these arrows, as I said, this is government, military first, and then after that Dawood Bhai, from D you will find Dawood Bhai, that means Gunda power, and then after that those persons who are not having power, weaker section, unsecured, not secured by anything, correct? Now that means not secured by a government, not secure, not giving, not got the protection from police department, anything, they are only one, correct? Now weaker section, unsecured creditors, and then brothers, two brothers, preferential creditors, preferential shareholders and equity shareholder. Understood now sequence? Triple L, then after preferential, debenture holders, unsecured, PD, ट्रिपल एल क्या हो गया, पेन ड्राइव खराब हो गया, यू what I said in classroom, you be idiot, like this, you that means you, like you write na, why in telegram message, you not like you but you like you, correct? Na PD, that means pen drive, you pagal, idiot, like this. P preferential creditors, and then E idiot, P D U P E, UPE, like this. You can remember the sequence. This is very simple. Now by learning this sequence, now moving ahead towards classifying the liabilities and writing liabilities on the credit side of balance sheet. Okay, what to write where? Obviously preferential creditors in preferential creditors group, preferential shareholders in preferential shareholder group, equity shareholder in equity shareholder group, and then after that, now here preferential in preference preference shares in preferential shareholders group, equity shares in equity shareholder group. Now check the screen, on screen you will get. And then after that, debentures, if secured by fixed charge, then as I said, fixed charge, every fixed charge you will find here, correct na, with their security, because that is asset, that is related to asset, with asset we write, correct na. Secured asset, you know, we write in surplus, that I already told you. देन जिधर गाय जाएगी उसका बछड़ा भी उधर जाएगा, यानी मेन आइटम इधर आया है तो इसका रिलेटेड आइटम भी इधर ही आएगा. You will say that this is asset side, how you are writing liabilities here, just for the sake of understanding how much liability against asset we have given, we are disclosing that on the asset side. That will not affect your the final position, payment position. While solving you will understand, because we do not write that amount in the outer column in the receipt total, we just deduct that from the total the received amount, correct. Don't worry, whatever I have said, show that you will get marks, correct. Now debentures, as I said, in debentures category, but if fixed charge, then in a secure category. If floating charge, that means debenture in debentures place, at debentures place, correct, at their home. And then after that we have written preference shareholders, equity shareholders, debentures at respective places. Now for creditors we do not have a specific place. For loan from bank, this is secured, therefore this also have specific place. We will write this on the asset side, receipt side, understood. And then creditors is not having a place, correct na. We have not given any security to the creditors, that means they are whom, they are unsecured ones. We will write these creditors in unsecured category. Where to write what, that please understand. And then wages payable, for wages payable also we cannot write in what, either in preferential or in the specific category. Therefore you have to write wages payable in unsecured creditors category, unsecured. Ask yourself whether, now let me clarify you whether they have given anything about the wages or not. Wages we pay to the worker, so many conditions you will find. Do I have here the notes? Yes, I have notes. Let me show you the preferential creditors category. If you able to figure out which liabilities are preferential, then other than preferential and then specific groups, you will find all remaining in unsecured. 5 to 6 belongs to preferential creditors category. Now wages are also the part of wages, total wages are also the part of what, preferential. Now how and where that is, let me show. One full flow chart I do have here in this note. Where is that preferential? One second. One second. Check this chart or check this flow chart. Now preferential, in preferential you will find government taxes, major government part you will find government taxes, then salaries and wages. So many conditions related to salaries and wages we are having, but not right now I will tell you all. Just remember 2 sentences related to salary and wages. Previous 4 months salary in last 1 year, that means 4 months salary in last 1 year will become the preferential, and then that amount per worker should not be more than 20,000, correct. Now wages, just if wages given, then write that those wages in a preferential. As far as SY is concerned, they will not ask you to calculate the amount of wages which will form the part of preferential. That means sub conditions of the wages will not get. By reading just wages, write wages in a preferential creditors. Then holiday remuneration payable to the workers, that will also the part of your what, the preferential. Then contribution to ESI, this is also related to the workers. That means government and workers payment you will find majorly in preferential. This is ESI contribution. Then compensation in respect of death and retirement you will find in preferential. This is also the related to workers. Then PF contribution related to worker, and finally one more item here, expense of investigation, not related to government and workers. This is a new item we will say, will form the part of what, your preferential category. Now then what I said, if you have specific place, write that at specific place. उसका घर है तो उसके घर में, नहीं है तो किसके घर में, नहीं है उसका specific घर तो उसको लिखो general category. In general we have preferential creditors and unsecured creditors. Preferentials and how to classify, let's see. Now again I will give you one more chance to understand it. Okay, now let's see here. We have preference shareholders. Do you have specific place? Yes, therefore write this at specific place. Then equity shares, do you have specific place? Yes, then write at that place. Do debentures, now two categories of debenture, fixed charge and then after that floating charge. Fix surplus में लिखो उसको, surplus on the debit side of your liquidator final statement. And if floating charge, then debentures, this floating charge debentures at their specific place. That means this 5% debentures here in debentures category. Understood? Now this debenture category I am highlighting it now just. And remaining which liabilities are remaining? Creditors, loan and then wages, correct. Now here also what about the loan? This we have what, related to fixed charge, because this is related to fixed charge we will write this in surplus category. Understood? Now this part is over. Now only remaining two liabilities are there and two places we have. Then which two places? Preferential and unsecured. Now preferential, first find out of these two which will come in preferential. Which will come in preferential? Creditors? No, creditors will not come. Only 6 will come in preferential. Which are they? Related to government and workers. Their salary, their ESI contribution, their PF contribution, holiday remuneration and then their gratuity and all, correct. And then one investigation expenses. Do we have anything out of this government and workers and investigation? Yes, we have one. What is that? That is wages payable. Therefore that will come where? In preferential creditors category. This is what your preferential creditors will say here, this category. Now understood? Now check the screen, you will understand this category I am talking about. And then only one liability is remaining, where we will write that in unsecured creditors. जिसका कोई नहीं उसका विठोबा, you know ना, जिसका कोई नहीं उसका धर्मशाला ही रहता है, वो अनसिक्योर्ड वाला उधर जाएगा. तो हमने सब लाइबिलिटी लिख लिया और सब एसेट भी लिख लिया. फिर अभी आपको सिर्फ अमाउंट का सोचना है. यू विल गेट अमाउंट इन इंफॉर्मेशन, इफ नॉट देन वी विल यूज अमाउंट ऑफ बैलेंस शीट ओनली. First, if amount is given in information, prefer that, and if not, then prefer balance sheet value. And what about the extra assets and liabilities? That means assets and liabilities which are not there in balance sheet but there in the adjustment. What about those? We will write those also either on the debit or on the credit. That means either on the sale of asset side or on the payment of liability side, okay, on the credit side. Okay, these are unrecorded assets and liabilities. We do write unrecorded also in liquidator final statement. If they are having some value, then only. If not, then no, not required. Okay, now we will complete this problem within next 5 to 10 minutes, and then after that you will get this video. Okay, let's start then. I will erase this first. You will get this. If you want, you can actually draw the screenshot. We'll complete fast now, right? We don't have that much time. Okay, start with the receipt side of balance sheet. Before that, read the adjustment. This is dividend, that means we have adjustment related to preference share, therefore give star here, star, like star only. And then after that we have adjustment against this furniture, loan from Dena Bank, also something is given here in the information. Then all remaining assets, their values they have given. Now those we will read. And then after that the cost of liquidation, remuneration 3% as well as 5% on payment to unsecured creditors, and all payments were made on 31st. Correct? Now we will start then. First, start with your answer, the sequence which is given in the answer. Don't write whatever is then given in the balance sheet or in the information in that sequence. Follow the sequence of your answer, your statement. Now first, in that statement they have told us to write cash and bank balance, opening balance of cash and bank. Now check how much balance do we have. 50,000 rupees balance. The give tick to 50,000 and write 50,000 where? In amount realized, here 50,000. And as far as cash balance is concerned, yes, estimated value of cash is concerned or book value of cash is concerned, you will find same. For cash, always book value and realized value is same. Correct? Therefore write 50-50, 50,000 and 50,000, not crackjack 50,000. Correct? Understood? Then my dear students, next category. Just now I said you to follow the sequence, but to get the correct answer in exam, do one thing. Don't directly write this amount realized. First write surplus and then amount realized. Examiner will not come to know that whether you have written amount realized first or surplus first. This is advisable to write surplus first. Why? You will understand, because you will not make any mistake if you write surplus first. Now what to write then? The assets which you have given as a security, that you must write here. Which asset we have given as a security? We have given furniture as a security, therefore write furniture here. And then furniture, what about furniture? Furniture amount. Furniture which amount? This is what here we do write sale values. We do not write balance sheet values. If sale value is not given, then balance sheet. Understood? No? Here then furniture, the sale value you will get in information, 1,20,000, 1,20,000. Whether to write balance sheet values or not, for that also we have condition. For intangibles we do not write balance sheet values, we understand those as a valueless. Correct? Now for that also we have rules, but right now in this problem we don't have that case. We will understand in the next video that. Correct enough. In next problem somewhere we will get, at that time I will tell you. Then amount, loan amount, right now don't write, just the secured asset, we are writing the assets. The asset furniture written, this furniture, just give tick to the furniture, no need to consider that balance sheet value because we have values here. We have values here in what? Information. Then only one asset was there which is given as a security, we have written that, and all other remaining, all other assets are what? They are unsecured assets. Therefore we will write unsecured assets, or the assets which we are not given as a security, those assets. Okay, all remaining we will write here in amount realized from sale of assets, right? Like plant and machinery, Then after that, now whatever they have given in information, write that. Now 2,75,000 rupees, 2,75,000. Then after that you will find stock. But stock, what about stock? Stock undervalued by 10,000. They have not given value of stock directly. Indirectly they have given the value. You can calculate how. Undervalued यानी कम लिखा है by 10,000. Stock undervalued by 10,000. Then what must be the value? Correct value. Balance sheet value जो कम लिखा है तो उसको बढ़ाओ. Undervalued by 10,000, that means 55 plus 10, 65,000 is the correct value of stock. 65,000 rupees. 65,000. Overvalued, then deduct it. Undervalued, then add it. Then realized full amount of stock. Okay, that is undervalued and they have realized full. That means full amount is 65. We have realized full. Okay, very good. And then after that we have debtors. Right, then debtors 80,000 rupees. Right, 80,000. After debtors, what do we have? We have creditors. Now this is not the part of what? This is not the part of your assets. Then what about the cash? We have written the cash. What about the goodwill? Have they given anything? Okay. No, we don't have goodwill. Okay, in this problem only they are talking about tangible and intangibles. Plant and machinery, we have written plant and machinery. What about the preliminary expenses and profit? And those are fictitious. We will never write fictitious assets in the liquidator final statement or in our statement of affairs. Okay, therefore remove. And then only one asset is remaining, that is goodwill. What about the goodwill? They have not given any information about goodwill, and goodwill is what? Intangible. If you are closing the business and no one is purchasing your goodwill, that means your goodwill will become valueless. Therefore that means that is now having zero value. Therefore no need to write goodwill. Or if you want to write goodwill, write their book value, and in realized value you can write 0. If value is not given, we are not God to predict the value. Correct na? No one will. Intangible asset, if no one is purchasing, that means what? That is losing its existence. Therefore goodwill here will not appear. Now two ways. If you want to write just goodwill in estimated values, that means like this goodwill. Or if you do not write, still you will get marks. 60,000, this is the column of book value, and here 0. And then in book values column, write all book values. Plant and machinery is book value 2,30,000. write that 2,30,000. this बैलेंस शीट का वैल्यू, बुक वैल्यू उसका कॉलम है. तो उसके बाद में हम कुछ सॉरी व्हाट हैड हैपेंड, $2,30,000. फिर स्टॉक का वैल्यू, स्टॉक 55,000, ये वैल्यू आएगा 55,000 हियर. तो फिर डेटर्स का वैल्यू 1,10,000 रुपीज़. गुडविल का वैल्यू लिखा है हमने. फर्नीचर का वैल्यू 1 लाख हियर इन बुक वैल्यू. ओके, सबका बुक वैल्यू और सबका रियलाइज वैल्यू हमने लिख दिया. यानी हमारा डेबिट साइड कंप्लीट हो गया. फिर हम स्विच करते हैं टुवर्ड्स द लायबिलिटी साइड और द पेमेंट साइड. Then first legal charges, have they given us legal charges? The cost of liquidation is there, but legal charges is not given, therefore dash here. Inner column and outer column cash. Liquidator remuneration, it's advisable not to write liquidator remuneration now. After writing all other, you can write liquidator remuneration. Why? Because for writing liquidators we require help of other items also, therefore keep that as it is, don't write. Then liquidation expenses means the cost of liquidation, one and the same. Cost of liquidation is called as liquidation expenses. How much is that? 5,000. Only one item, therefore write that 5,000 directly here. Correct, write that 5,000 directly here. Then after that the preferential creditors. You already told me wages is the part, wages will fall in preferential, therefore I will write wages here. Wages 15,000. Payment value is not given of wages, therefore we will write book value. वैल्यू इधर दिया है, जैसे 5000 दिया था 5000 लिख लिया, तो वेजेस का वैल्यू इधर देते तो वो लिखेंगे, नहीं दिया तो वो लिखेंगे, आर डिफरेंट फ्रॉम योर एसेट्स. What about the liabilities? If value is not given, consider book value for all. Let it we don't with the assets. Now wages understood, written. Now after preferential we have debenture holders category, debentures not fixed charge, floating charge, therefore debentures in debentures category 5% debentures. I don't have time, you will understand what I am writing. And with debenture we write interest as well. If debenture, the basic amount in debentures holders category, therefore their interest also in this category only. Now interest up to balance sheet and from balance sheet to date of payment. If you have different date of payment here, if you have different date of payment, now our balance sheet date is a different problem, I think so. This is a problem of RAM Limited. I have read the problem of what? We have read the problem of Hare Limited. In Hare Limited, the date of payment, okay, this date of payment, this is the balance sheet date itself. Now both one and same, but only there is change in goodwill, correct? Now their goodwill, here you will find goodwill, then their same date of a payment as like your balance sheet date, but here we have different date of payment, and that one is more simple than this. Here what? Here up to all payments we made up to on 31st December 2020 and balance sheet we have 31st March. Therefore, to debentures we cannot say that you will get only basic as well as the interest up to balance sheet date only. The debenture holders will get interest from balance sheet date to date of payment as well. That means two types of interest here you will find in debenture holder category, and one their basic amounts. That means maximum 3 amounts you will find in category, in this category. 5% debentures, the basic amount, plus interest on debentures up to balance sheet. That means whatever they have given the interest in balance sheet, that interest. Fortunately in this problem we are having interest on debentures. That means this is called as interest up to balance sheet, we write that. But in the problem of RAM Limited we are not having. Now we are solving RAM Limited, we are not having this interest, therefore dash, and this interest from 31st March to 31st December. 31st March to 31st December. How many months? April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. 9 months. 1,50,000. Here I will show you calculation. 1 lakh. Here also we can show 1,50,000 is the amount. Rate of interest debenture 5%, that is 5 by 100, and how many months? 9 months, 9 by 12. Now if you do the calculation you will get, now please do the calculation, 5%, so I require to use calculator, the habit has gone now. Calculator, do you have any? Okay, my dear students, just now I have calculated that amount is 5625. That amount is 5625. Okay, understood. Now after this, after debentures, after writing these debentures 1,50,000, next category, unsecured category. As you know, we have written correct, unsecured, right, all other we have written. What about the creditors? Related to creditors we have adjustment star to that. Creditors have given us 3% discount. You know creditors is part of what? Creditor is the part of your unsecured. Their amount is 80,000, and they have given 3% discount, less 3% we will say. Then 80,000 less 3%, 77,600. Okay, creditors is also over. debentures we have written. Only loan from Dena Bank we haven't yet written. Loan from Dena Bank. Where to write loan from Dena Bank? Liquidation expenses unsecured. Loan from Dena Bank here. As I said, this is having fixed charge. A fixed charge therefore in surplus. Loan from Dena Bank, amount of loan from Dena Bank 1,30,000 rupees. 1,30,000 rupees. We have only 120 and we require 130. That means what? Minus 10,000. If plus amount, if you get any surplus, that means if 1 lakh could be the amount of loan, then we would have written here 1 lakh, 1 lakh 20 minus 1 lakh, that is 20,000, correct. But my dear students, you will not get any surplus amount, any realized surplus here. In realized value, our target is to write surplus, but from furniture we got 120 and 130 is the payment, therefore nothing is there in surplus category, zero surplus. But 10,000 is what? The deficit. 10,000 we required to pay. 120 will give out of sale of furniture, but 10 we will going to give you like unsecured. We are required to pay, but where to pay? In which category we can pay? From which category? This is not the preferential, because they have got only 120 preferential. Therefore, those are not preferential. Those are also not part of debentures. Those are then those are also not part of preference shareholder, equity shareholder. Therefore, here the deficit amount always we write in unsecured category. Therefore, the deficit amount balance loan amount 10,000. Understood? That means this is also over, loan amount is also over. Now everything now we have written except what? These preference shareholders, equity shareholder. Now liquidator remuneration is also remaining. Now what fast? I think so. We will complete this video. Let me first complete the balance part of liquidator remuneration, and then after that we'll see the next problem or the remaining part of liquidation. Till now we have studied everything. Then remuneration, liquidator remuneration, preference shareholder payment and equity shareholder payment. Okay. Now what about the liquidator remuneration? Read that. The cost of liquidation amounted, here you will find the liquidator is entitled to a remuneration of 3% on asset realized and 5% on payment to unsecured creditors. Now 3% first, 3% on asset realized. Now liquidator remuneration, therefore here 3% on. Now on write asset realized amount. Now asset realized amount we are already done with other adjustments, realizations, therefore directly you will get the figure. Now for writing this amount, no need to check your information or adjustment part, check the debit side of your answer. There you will get the what? Asset realized amount. Asset realized amount, here we have calculator, just you do the calculation, you will understand. Now amount 2,75,000. Now where is that realized values? Where are those realized values? Here 2,75,000 plus 65,000 plus 80,000. Okay, these are realized plus 0, we can say plus 0, and one more realized value you will get from furniture also. You have got 1,20,000. We cannot ignore that amount. Therefore, all these assets first, those which we have not given as a security, consider those first, and then after that the asset which we have given as a security, that asset realized value also, on that liquidator will get the commission. There are so types of commissions and remuneration of liquidator. In this type, on assets realized, let it be sold by liquidator or the, here in this case Dena Bank or some other party, he will get on all assets, on assets realized. If that is realized, he will get. Okay. Now 2,75,000 plus 65 plus 80 plus we will say 1,20,000. On that means 5,40,000 he will get the remuneration 3%. And then after that, not only this but one more type of a remuneration, that is 5% on payment to unsecured creditors, 5% on. Then payment to unsecured creditors, here in regular classes I taught you what unsecured creditors, if nothing is mentioned in a general sense, means unsecured creditors plus preferential creditors. So what it mean by preferential? Preferential means they have got just preference in payment. That doesn't mean they are secured, they are also the unsecured. If they specifically say about commission on payment to unsecured creditors excluding preferential creditors, then in that case do not consider preferential creditors. But if nothing has mentioned, then take the general meaning in general sense. And in a general sense, what is the meaning of unsecured creditors? In general sense, their meaning is unsecured creditors plus preferential creditors. Okay. That means unsecured creditors includes preferential creditors in general sense. Therefore, unsecured creditors total we want, on that he will get now this 87,600, but he will not just get on 87,600, he will also get on preferential creditors, that is 15,000 as well. Okay. Now take the total, you will get total preferential creditors 87,600 plus 15,000, that means he will now get commission on 1,02,600. And at what rate? Therefore we will say commission is equal to at 5%. Here they have written at 5%, 1,02,600 into 5%. 1,02,600 into 5%, 5,130. You will get commission on 1,02,600 at 5%. That means 5,130, and then in the first case 3% on 5,40,000 into 3%, 16,200. Therefore we will get the total 5,130 plus this 21,330. Okay, we have calculated commission successfully. Now after this, then next what? Only brothers payment. Okay. Now for that, what you should do? For that you should do one working note. Okay, one working note. Now let's prepare that working note. Working note number 1. In that write down calculation for available to shareholders. It includes both equity and preference shareholders. Now how to calculate that? For that you must take debit side total less credit side total. Debit side total minus credit side total. Now debit side, before this, if anything is there in inner column, transfer that to outer column. I think so, nothing is there here. Here dash we have that, we already written the well. Okay. No, nothing is there in inner column. Therefore now you can take the total debit side total 50,000 plus 2,70,000, sorry, 2,75,000 50,000 plus 2,75,000 plus 65,000 plus 80,000. That means there will get 4,70,000 rupees debit side total, and from that what they are saying, deduct credit side total before making payment to shareholders. 21,330 plus 5,000 plus 15,000 plus 1,55,625 is 87,600. You will get, I think so, 2,84,555. Okay, let's check it again. 21,330, 5,000, 15,000, 1,55,625 and 87,600. Okay, that means that is 2,84,555 minus 4,70,000. The balance amount you will get 1,85,445 and 2. Now from this we will pay to shareholders. That means this is balance now, balance money. From this you required to pay to shareholders. First, from name only you will understand. In preference shareholder you will find preference. You first pay them less what? 2 less 2 preference shareholders. Now in preference shareholders you will find preference shares as well as what? Their dividend. Now where is that? The first line of balance sheet, in that you will get the preference share amount and then their dividend amount. 1 year dividend in arrear, 1 year dividend. Now how to calculate? A rate here 10% is given, and into, then if you do this calculation here I have shown 1 lakh into 10 divided by 100 into 1 year into 1. If in months given, then into those many months divided by 12. If in year given, directly write year. 1 lakh into 10% into period. Correct now? That means you will get that 10,000. 1 lakh just into 10 divided by 100 into 1 lakh 10,000 rupees. 1 lakh 10,000 rupees. Okay, to less preference shareholder. Then after paying to shareholder you will get balance 1,85,445 minus 1 lakh 10,000 rupees, that is 75,445. 75,445. Okay, this is the balance amount. But before writing the balance and all, just now you have paid in working note, but give the effect of that in main answer. Write preference shares and then dividend. Preference shares and dividend 1 lakh and then 10,000, 1 lakh 10,000 rupees. Okay, and then balance only 75,445 we are having. Whom to pay now this? Only one liability holder is remaining, that is equity shareholder, equity shares. Therefore pay them. We do not require extra money, therefore no need to call from them. They have paid 75 paid up, still 25 is remaining. You can call, but here we don't have need as such because we have balance. If no balance or less balance to pay other liability holders, then only we call from equity shareholders. Here no need to call, just hand over available balance, give them available balance. Now how much available balance? 75,445. Therefore here you can write equity shares. To them we will pay 75,445, and then after that if you take the total you will get equal total. Then just check 50,000 plus 2,75,000 plus 65,000 plus 80. We have done this calculation. 4,70,000. We are doing it again. 4,70,000. And then if you take credit side total, up to this I think so we have already taken. Yes, up to preference shareholders we have taken. How much was that? 2,84,000. Here you will get up to that, you know, 4,84,555 plus 1,10,000 plus 75,445. You will get here 4,70,000 rupees. I think so. We have done with this problem. Now in second part, what we'll do, we'll conclude full liquidation chapter with the help of one or two examples. We'll try to understand different adjustments. Yes, this is just the first problem. From this you must have got the glimpse of what to write where. Understood? Okay, thank you then.